No French trios here, though. That's, that's ice cold, Ben.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, Benno kind of walking out like that, right? A lot of the trios still seeming to be in high spirits, kind of, Pete reminding everybody of the FNCS wins as he comes out as well. But I think there was one of those walkouts that stuck out more than all of the others, right? And it's going to be the last one, of course. The crowd giving its utmost loudest roar, I'm pretty sure, of the weekend so far for Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache, and they deserve it.
And they love it. They absolutely love it. They're playing to it. Their play style sort of panders to it as well, right? Playing that high ground play style, the way they can win games, they can have clutch moments. Even the fraggers, of course, doing exactly what they do best, just providing highlight reel after highlight reel. They're a great team to watch. So not only, of course, they have 2 players on M8, they're also just great entertainers as a team. You can hear it. They absolutely love them, and for good reason.
Yeah, man, look at Sweezy. She's in there, man. I love to see this. I mean, guys, look, if we get any more victorials out of this trio today, I will lose my voice, and I feel like everyone in the stands will as well. Again, we could be looking at our new global champions. They have such a lead coming into today, and now we have these hope. Whatever else is going on, if they're prepared, maybe an ace drops on them. I don't think so, but, we just got to hope that they hold on strong.
I mean, yeah, they definitely have to, right? Globals, it's been a very rare occurrence for any of our winners who have 12 good teams. So far, they've had 6. If they can continue to do well, pick up those top 5s like they have done consistently so, yeah, nobody's going to be able to catch them. But like I already said, very unlikely that they won't have, a bad game in the mix. And once they do, that's going to kind of open the gates for all of the other trios got to catch up.
I'm calling it right here. It's not crazy prediction, I'll be honest. Queasy game 1 win. They're doing it. It's such a Queasy thing to do. Looking at the vault, making sure they're adapting to the lobby, coming out of the gate strong. It's such a Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache thing to do. They're playing it so well. They might have trouble later on down the line. I think a lot more teams, as we see quite often in Fortnite tournaments, is they need to try and boost their way up in the standings for their own good. So they might try and take height. But that first game, keep an eye on them.
Okay, all right, listen, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say Kanata is going to come back, win 3 more games today, because that's what he personally told me. I'm going to win 4 at LAN. So I got to believe in NA. We're making a resurgence, okay? Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years, okay? Everything's all good to go. But you heard that sound. The battle bus is ready. 6 games here. Championship Sunday. After this, we will know who the new champions are. It's game time!
Almost a year in the making just to get to this global championship. 3 different majors. So much heartbreak, emotion, and passion going into this moment. An 185-point lead for Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache. It's going to take everything that these players have just to take them down, let alone steal away that top spot.
It's always going to be a battle of mental fortitude, though, in a 2-day format, Jacob, and with a whole night to review. I'm expecting to see adaptations at Pixies already feeling a little bit of pressure. Tags applied from a distance, but this
Tak żyje mi to w 14 jara.
Pablo's already down, but actually with the sweeper, he's trying to see if he can wrap around, provide a little bit of supportive measures. H-Trace is gonna fall. This could be everything right now, but Gino, he's trying to wrap around. Gino knows he might as well just finish this elimination.
Wacht, is long.
Don't want to allow any kind of revive opportunities. 2 eliminations locked in though, with Tayson having fallen and Chicho barely standing, but it's all for Nazi, Pablo, and Gino to win it out. Now let's see what they're really about for these end games.
And this time around,
זהו, חיסלו את הטרש שהיה איתם.
they finish this fight rather quickly, minimizing the chance of any third party.
לא, הם עוד לא חיסלו.
I know, and I think the world is on notice now. When Fordoxy is able to get off spawn, he goes on runs.
Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache. A little bit of rumblings taking place all throughout the course of the early morning hours, and even leading into this morning inside the player practice room, you heard the possibilities. Maybe Queasy gets contested, but that's not going to be
הנה, הטרש של קליקס, אליט, אקסנט וקליקס.
Keep in mind, Jacob, these guys are still well within striking range of top 5.
Yeah, 8th place basically to end the day yesterday, and it's kind of building momentum, building confidence. These guys have all played on the global stage before. They just need to go ahead and channel it. This is day 2, the last chance, 6 games. They just have to leave no regrets left on that table, just like this team here. Contested, uncontested, they made it work no matter what went their way from the Kappa factory, and now they are just a few big games away from potentially taking a second or even a first place spot, depending how Swizzy, Quizzy, and Verstappen continue to perform throughout the day.
And while being uncontested is likely ideal for Seti Banter and Yapko, it does force them to have to revisit where is our search strategy going to come into play. They're not the only ones that have had to take those instances and just rewrite how they want to work it through. Dark Demon's Picks, on the other hand, just working,
Yo.
creating, farming, and Epic Whale with a
Unfortunately,
desperate
Cherry.
plan.
You said it yourself, lurking, but from one team to another, you're kind of seeing the change up of strategies. Instead of finding out over at Dystopia, it looks like Epic, Paper, and Victor V are ready to make moves. 72 points after day number 1 is a hole that they didn't even expect themselves to be in, especially to start the day. It was Victor V that stopped the momentum from building from Peterbot himself by taking him out in a crucial 1v1 to save Epic Well because he was down.
It actually looks like Epic Well, Paper, and Victor V might have visited that bird a little bit too late. I dropped
חכים לראות את פוקוס.
most of the metal here, and it's just the scraps left behind. Paper, Victor V, and Epic, they didn't exactly have the most primed up loadouts, so they gotta be really wary of that team.
הנה הטריו של פיטר בוט.
Just kind of taking the risk of not being able to get loot early on.
טוויסט קולד איתו.
Fight to go their way.
ריטואל איתו ופיטר בוט.
Still spinning that wheel, landing at the outskirts, not contesting Dystopia, and quickly moving on over towards Foxy Floodgates. You know that visual grades and minutes typically do land over here. They're already gone position, and that team in front of them are hunting down. But from one side of the map to the next, contested fights still continue. Adapter landing good shots on the pump, forcing him back, and he's kind of separated from the rest of the team. That's going to give Adapter just a little bit of confidence to move on over. But since he doesn't know exactly where all 3 members of this trio are at, it's just a little bit too risky for him to keep that aggression up as Baka, Pars, and Pump all drop down low to that low
Wow,
ground.
crap.
What little materials that they do have.
The problem is both of these teams are now rather isolated, Jacob. They spent a decent amount of time in this position way far east of everybody else. So now Adapter, then sort of, they don't even have any materials. They were trying to pounce on this opportunity, but when the time to elimination isn't wrapped up nice and pretty like what we witnessed between Tayson and Prodoxy, you just get these drawn out exchanges, and it's not necessarily going to benefit either team because they're both really low on materials. They're so far out of the way compared to everybody else. They still gotta push in eventually, and they're not really going to get a whole lot off of the other party, even if one does win the fight. So Adapter, Mensor, Ballord, they spot it out.
Wow.
They know they can't afford to spend any more time. They need to create some space.
Yeah, and I kind of like what you said, where there's not enough resources as well, and you got to realize,
בוא נשים לכם כתוביות.
fight, especially Baka, Pars, and Pump, they
אולי
are
כתוביות.
missing chunks of shield, a little bit of HP, so Storm Surge is
Wow.
not going to be much, even with that elimination there on the Mansoor. Not sure that he didn't get the memo that the rest of his team already rotated out, but that's a blessing in disguise from Baka, Pars, and Pump. Just a little bit of surge, but as I was saying, it's not a ton, so their job isn't done yet. They're going to have to be predators in this lobby to try to hunt and figure out where they can start to accumulate that damage, because yesterday that was one of their weaknesses. Just like a few of the teams in this lobby, falling below that damage threshold, you kind of lose control over your own game. You have to push teams in which you normally wouldn't push.
The elimination feed certainly lighting up though with a chunk of Nox, and Bolts loses his shield.
וואו, פרובו חזק.
Based off of what we just saw inside of this surge base, don't think that Bolts is all that pressed for it. Pixie, Vanya, Marius just taking their time. These pre-established surge bases, you have a pretty good idea of where other teams are going to be at, so you know that you're very likely to be able to farm a few surge tags if you just set up in advance.
Activity still going on this side of the map. It's actually going over back towards
Wow.
XRHQ. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual continuously trying to hunt down Visuals, Braids, and Aminish. But Razzle Tate and Rhino, they're also rotating on over from Dystopia City. And this is kind of becoming a cluster of teams trying to take this high ground position outside of the OXR HQ, which I can understand why, but you're seeing Peterbot, Cold, Ritual, and some of the other teams choose, hey, maybe this is not worth it. We still need damage elsewhere, and as long as both teams stay boxed,
כן, יהיה להם סטורם סרג', לא סטורם סרג', יהיה להם... שהם לא פוגעים מספיק.
They're also fully aware of the fact that Peterbot's team very likely is still lurking nearby, so it's not like they're going to have a smooth exit. But Victor found themselves a little bit too tangled up here. Reek, Curly, and Cooper certainly have a little bit more priority positioning, but Victor V, he's got to try and hold things down. He wants to provide a little bit of relief towards Epic Whale. They just don't have a whole lot to work with in comparison to Curly, who's just trying to charge, see if he can run Epic down, but Reet now taking the forefront positioning. Reet instead going to be left to fall behind as Epic now scattered, but that's breathing room.
Yeah, and this is just a tough position. You're seeing both Victor B and Epic Well's loadout. They only have bandages, which is really not going to help them in this situation. No extra shields, which means Epic Well is just one pump away from going down. Victor B and him have to figure it out, but Benno, Flixie, Vico, they're trying to do the same thing. Not necessarily fighting the same off spawn, even with 2 eliminations, quickly rotating away from that Cannon's Crossing and end up in another exchange against one of Asia's finest, Buyuriru and his whole trio. But you can see neither team just kind of going all in, just trying to end the fight quickly. There is a little bit of elevation difference, but that's going to go over to Benno, Flixie, and Vico. So now they have the options, the choices of what to do next.
The key part, though, about Benno, Vico, and Flixie is you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile here. And they know that they applied a good amount of damage against Medivh and Buyuriru.
Oh, לא גדלתי נכון.
Content with the surge they built up, but knowing those guys, they're definitely out for more. They want at least 1, 2, even 3 eliminations. But Medivh, Wixie, they're going to actually get up close and personal, but Wixie bit off more than he could chew. Vico's going to have no problem shutting that one down, and it's Flixie credit for 2, Benno is 1, but a nice cleanup all the way through.
They just kind of went for an all or nothing play, and just the team's timing wasn't there. Team got kind of shut down. Buyuriru wasn't able to put down pressure because he had the DMR, but now it's turning around on him. Vico, Flixie, Benno, they're dropping down from above. They know they have a huge numbers advantage. And that's why Vico's playing from the top down, trying to cut off any paths, any escape through toward the top, takes a shot.
Have a focus, Blaa'n.
Knowing his teammates do have the pressure, it's going to allow him to heal just a little bit. As Blaa'n just getting a good shot. Buyuriru doing the same thing. Benno's being forced back, but the numbers are just way too much for them to handle. Vico gets the last laugh on the Buyuriru.
If it had been anyone else, might have been a little bit more worried there for Benno, but we knew he still had Flixie and Vico to back him up, no problem. Only 52 HP remains though for Medium, and whether or not Flixie, Benno, Vico decides to stick around, they might realize there's a third party that could easily roll on over, but they found the eliminations they needed in the process.
Yeah.
No.
I got that same feeling that you did. Somebody might be pushing over. The fight might have taken way too long, drawing a lot of attention, and yes, it actually has. All the way from across the ocean, we see E from that low side on the map. Storm Surge is going to be one of their biggest worries dropping there if the zone does pull towards the top. They really have to start to figure out a way to take advantage of it. And with 2 teams here, Vico, Flixie, and Benno, and a solo player that they did leave behind down below, they're just kind of waiting here, getting information. They know H's team also lands on this side of the map, so they're trying to figure out where is the easiest possibility to get that damage.
It's just no secret. Anon was very vocal about the fact that he is not a fan of the way Surge has been working zone by zone. Up 1,001, down 300 and another. It's the nature of the game, and it can be brutal at times, but that's exactly why we see them trying to be more proactive, trying to create those aggressive Surge instances. But I'm not sure Benno, Vico, Flixie is the team that you want to take your chances on.
I feel like this is the team right here. Pollo, Agers, and Acorn. 10th place after day number 1. And I feel like the majority of the community had this team in their top 5, in their top 3, possibly winning the entire thing. But now, Acorn, one of the best IGLs, Pollo, one of the best fraggers in the game, and then Agers, the guy that can do it all. They're really going to be tested throughout these 6 games, just like Cammy, Audi, I drop, haven't left their drop spot not any bit, but this fight continues to come to them from Epic Whale's team to Tay-Tay's team. They're all just trying to get as much Storm Surge damage because they know that's the kind of currency, that's the flexibility that allows you to rotate early when the zone pulls towards the north. That's something you can focus on versus everybody else.
But these kind of scrappy box fights are exactly where Asia tends to shine, and that's why we see a little bit of reservation there from iDrop, Cammy, and Hottie. They know what kind of position they're currently holding on the leaderboard. They don't want to give it up. Boyo, Agers, and Acorn, though, they just continue to take advantage of all the objectives surrounding them, even if they have to make some earlier rotates. We saw how difficult their day one started out, but by the end of it, we started to see that little bit of a bounce back factor, Jacob, and now with the whole night to actually hit the VODs, I'm so certain that Acorn has definitely cooked up something.
Yeah, in this game round, they did actually get the medallion that lands had Demon's Debris. They have the Mythic, and because of that, they have the A rank, which unlocked that vault, and they have the exotic as well. The Wrecker Revolver that shoots
Mr. Savage.
with every hit fire, so that's something that we're really going to have to watch out for, especially if they're looking for a comeback today through eliminations. Savage Chat Reason trying to do the same thing, slow to rotate on out. They're prioritizing getting Storm Surge. A lot of these teams that are slow to rotate, those are the ones that are making a focus on this fight.
But this is a big turnaround right now, though. It's only Cammy and iDrop left to duke it out up against some of Asia.
לא מלרון אין פוקוס.
They're going for the double revive. It's a little bit greedy, but Tay-Tay, he's actually the only healthy member. They're going to opt for possibly trading out revives, but no, Tay-Tay recognizing I'm just too far away. Crash pad out, going for the escape, but iDrop and Cammy aren't going to be able to give pursuit, at least not right away. But there's nowhere left for him to run. Tay-Tay, he's just going to have to pull on bail.
Yeah, sometimes you just they don't get a choice. They're trying to just bring all the loot back into their box. They know other teams potentially nearby, but Adi's the one that really kind of opened up that opportunity, gets the knock, and the rest of the team was there. And that's a confidence-boosting feeling, knowing your entire team has your back. You can make a move, sometimes without even out saying anything. Clicks, Pigs, and Iyamzo kind of, I wouldn't say changing up their overall strategy, but all three of them as a team, they plan towards those RVs just outside of the Supernova Academy. They get as much of that brick as possible, trying to max this out for the most part, and then they go and loot Supernova Academy, try to get all the loot. I know everybody hears the crowd roaring right now. Swizzy, Mustache, and Queasy, business as usual, getting their early game Storm Surge, getting their early game rank ups, and then accessing the vault.
And the main thing to take note of here, Jacob, is that these guys aren't changing anything. Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache are running this back as if we're still in day one, despite it being game 7. And if nobody's going to force them to change their strategy, it's hard to believe that Queasy won't end up taking over hype later on.
Definitely a possibility. They're in first. They don't have to change up anything because nobody even looked up yesterday. But Cooper and Curly find themselves in a peculiar situation. 2v3 versus the NA West champs, Baka Pars and Pump. But Curly's doing a good job holding down his walls, holding down his defensive and fighting back, forcing the Flowberry Fizz out on the other side. The triple hill is going to get him back into action that much quicker. But they're just at the edge of zone with not far to rotate before they make their way in. That's
I don't know if it focus.
a little bit longer, but a massive haymaker onto Pars. That's going to slow things down just a little bit and continue to build the confidence for Cooper and Curly.
Cooper and Curly are really having their mettle tested this weekend. It's so unfortunate that they had to leave Free behind, but they are still a powerful duo that can definitely pop off with a strong performance here. One singular clutch could be all the momentum shift that they need. Cooper has been here so many times before, and he knows that they've got to try and capitalize, but they have no idea what kind of duo is crouch lurking behind them. Balor and Adapter, they've also encountered some early struggles, losing Mansoor since he didn't get the memo, and Adapter, Balor, they don't even get the chance. They thought they were going to get the jump on Cooper and Curly, but instead it's been 180.
They're almost 500 damage below the threshold. Cooper Curly, they don't see if it activates. They won't be able to get that visual, but they will hear the shields crack if it does come down to it. But they're just kind of hunkered down below. biding their time as much as possible, time that they may not necessarily have. They have extra shields in their loadout, but they don't have any extra HP heals. Sooner or later, they might be pushed into a situation where they have to get eliminations, especially now that a whole nother duo starts to make their way in. That's Tay-Tay and his teammate, but up goes Cooper without no HP. Exactly what I said, they have to go for eliminations, but Valor, he's at least going to be able to steal away one. That's one less chance, but Storm Surge activates, making it just a little bit easier as Cooper and Curly have to go, and they have to go now. It's a 2-tick, they're on the clock. If a Cooper does it, he dunks on him from above to get the siphon.
But the same can't be said for Curly. He has no siphon to profit off of just yet. They're gonna have to find another elimination. They're gonna have to find it now. Adapter has fallen. Cooper and Curly just continuing to make something out of nothing here. But Valor, that surge tick is just destroying him. The shield crack goes off yet again. He's using every single bit of healing resources he has, and it's still likely not going to be enough.
And like I said, the shield's cracked. That's a giveaway for Curly and Cooper, and immediately turn around, tried to land shots. Valor's doing just that, and he barely gets himself above that damage threshold, and he knows he cannot go back for his teammates' reboots card. This is a solo journey from here on out for him, and he does some good damage yet again. Will he pick up the elimination? We'll wait and see, but Pixie, Vanya, and Marius, you can see the zone just outside of OXR HQ. These guys have been smooth sailing so far in this game.
Marius and Pixie being the top two players for shotgun damage and moving zone says enough, Jacob. These guys have been getting fraggy, and they plan to continue their streak, especially with all the company that's starting to dogpile around them.
Like you saw in the distance, Baka, and I believe Ours both going down. Looking to get cleaned out by Chat Savage and Reason. 410 damage above the threshold.
עדיין לא ראיתי את זה.
I was talking to them before today. They didn't have too many game plans, they just played better. They know their performance yesterday was abysmal, and that's just a huge fire underneath their belt to do just that and have a good comeback. And Chino's just fighting on the other side. That's Anon all the way from OCE, but his teammates are coming in. Backup has arrived. Chino's just getting pushed back further and further. Resign's starting to feel that confidence, but there's too many players all around. For surprising Resign's catching him off guard. Multiple players just trying to push in, but for Doxy making sure to save the day. Down goes Resign's, and up goes their chances to win this fight.
Just look at the way that Ferdoxy and Chino played this box fight, though. So many separate angles opened up at once. Resign's HP just disappeared. Ferdoxy and Chino still looking to try and hold things down, too, here, Jacob. They're fully aware of the fact that they've done enough to at least push Oshi back temporarily, but that's not to say that it has had the same effect on the Polish counterparts directly next to where they're located.
They do have that extra med kit down below, just in case. Anon, Alex, they're trying to come back for revenge. Chino's gonna be the first one going down. Well placed shot by Alex. Behind that one, forcing Ferdoxy to try to back up and get the revive. The audio visual is coming out. Ferdoxy trying to reposition. He has to let the cone go. He has to let his teammate go down. That one's quickly cleaned up, but that doesn't mean he has to stop fighting back. With 2 versus 1 in this situation, and him being slightly on the edge of zone, if not out, he has to start getting information that is vital to his success. And even one more team going down, he'll start to get placement points on top.
Problem as a solo, though, is that there's only so many directions you can look at once, and overhead, Swizzy, Merstash, Queasy, they're already starting to break through. You saw that first knock take place right now for Swizzy, and he's still after another Ritual and Peterbot. They don't even realize they're being shot from underneath, but it's actually Sphinx who's taking down Peterbot in this lobby. Shadow from behind.
Wow.
Never sees it coming. Swizzy's got that elimination.
Wow.
Trying to save his teammate's life, but can the double revive actually come to fruition with Swizzy applying so much pressure?
Yeah, multiple players, and he has that exotic, which is so much damage, just tearing through those builds. But you can see as Soning's the zone, hold on over, they kind of brought themselves back. Probably Queasy making the call. We have to start to rotate. This zone is vital for our success. If we can get high ground here, that could be our 4th game win. But while one team's having an easy game, Iamzo and Clicks, with one of them being down, Iamzo's trying to get him back up. They have 1 crash pad left in their inventory, 6 splashes for the HP if they need it, some Flowberry Fizz, but it is a far pull for a duo to have.
little bit sad there for Mustache. He really wanted to see if he could get a good chunk out of Acorn, Agers, and Pollo on that rotate, but crash pads are out along with the Flowberry Fizz. Yamzo's immediately going to try to claim a position towards the front side, but holds back for a second here. A little bit split from Clicks. Clicks going to build right back up where his teammate's at. He needs some of these chuck splashes, but of course, another rotate. There is no time to stop, especially with Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache right back at home, babe. He's on the high ground.
That happened so fast, you blink, you might have missed it, because now there's a whole nother team on top. They're getting battled out, chopped down even once, but the consistency for them to remain in the clouds is absolutely amazing. Swizzy, Mustache, and Queasy making it look easy down below. Everybody is at their disposal, and this is where we know what they do. They just target out second height over and over and over. They reconnect along the way, so teams are going to have to think of something different here compared to yesterday.
Savage Chef and Reason seem like they're a little bit more intent on just trying to stake out these front side rotations, but for Clicks and Yamzo, it's likely going to be a backside of zone play. They're going to have to find a refresh. They have hardly any materials to work with. Yamzo doing what he can to drop whatever builds he can for Clicks, but there's nowhere safe to tarp out through inside of these lower layers. Everybody is frazzled here. Yapko, Panther, and Seti also in a very strong top 3 position, and they want to hold on to it, Jacob.
They don't want to let it go. They worked way too hard to get this far. To go down here in 15th place. Storm Surge still active, forcing players to fight one another. Even though they have to rotate to the zone, they're trying to keep their 3rd place spot intact. They're only 8 points behind as we stand in this game, but Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy are just double tarping, making sure to reinforce with Venno. They are trying to look up. At one point or another, maybe 2 zones ago, they were the team on high ground, but it got stolen away. Oppos Acorn, they're ready to battle it out. M8 versus M8 as Pollo's ready to take on the competition, but towards the backside of zone, they chop it all down. Queasy, he saw that one coming from a mile away.
That's exactly why they had Mustache over ahead, still looking to try and build things out here, but Swizzy blocking off Acorn so professionally. Everybody's been chopped up. They're all falling down. Agers has been eliminated. Pollo and Acorn trying to go right back up on the height, but it's Malabuka, it's Lux, it's Ping. They're the ones that have fully overthrown the high ground. They're the ones that are ready to find their first victory royale.
Mustache, Queasy still as a duo, but they're still holding that 1st place spot. Kanata is going to go down. Only 3 of the teams in our top 5 still alive. Mustache, Queasy, they're trying to be Queasy only takes a big shot. He loses Swizzy across the way. Mustache has to figure out a way.
Tarpy like a madman, just trying to block off every possible angle. He knows there might be an opening, a teammate underneath that's just so much worse off than he currently is. But instead, it's both Kanata and Rapid. He's looking to play spoiler, but he can't get enough damage applied. Mustache still somehow, some way, tarping through this middle layer, and nobody seems to be cutting him off just yet, but he's running out of material, and Malabuka walks from overhead. They've lost Ping. Ping thought that he could take out Darm in the process. Instead, he loses his own life.
Somehow, Rapid, Kanata, Bolts all still alive on the low ground. Even with Bolts going down, they got the front side of zone and a chance to get the revive. A couple eliminations being cleaned up. Biko trying to stay alive. Malabuka and Walk still on high ground. Raining fire down from above. They get that knock on the Kanata, and you see the Flowberry Fizz coming out. They're getting ready. The inevitability. The drop down from above. It comes in. Kanata gets cleaned up. The Siphon comes into play. Walks is doing damage. Malabuka is causing pain.
Mr. Savage Mate. וואו, מי יצר בראשון? וואו! מליבוקה עם... כן, הם כנראה מנצחים ממנו.
Money. אתה מה, יאום מוצא?
מה זה יאום? מדבר יפה לאבא שלך. שמעת? זיו, זיו. תעשו לי את הכרטיס שחקן.
לא אכפת לי.
סתום את הפה, אני מחר אסחוב אתכם.
איזה לסחוב אתה לא? אתה לא יודע לנגוח בכלל, אתה רוצה לשים...
טוב אחי.
אתה לא יודע לפעול לנגדך.
טוב.
אני יכול להישבע.
טוב.
לא, אתה לא יודע לנגוח, אתה לא יודע לנגוח.
טוב.
עובדה שהוא לא בחר בך משהו אחד לתרגיל לקרן ולכל דבר.
מה? הייתי פשוט באלה שנוקחים, יא חמור.
ואני הייתי וגם קטע אפס.
שמע, הוא אפילו לא יודע איך אני מרים, הוא נראה לי צריך לתת לי להרים, כאילו בקרנות.
לא.
מבטיח אני, לא, מבטיח לך שאני מרים טוב.
תגיד, נוראי, לא בקצרה.
נו.
הוא לא ייתן לך להרים כי אתה...
מה?
כי הוא בטח, אתה יודע, חשב מי יפתח, ובטח הוא לא רצה לפתוח איתך.
כן, מן הסתם הבנתי את זה, אבל הוא היה צריך כאילו גם לראות. אתה יודע. וחוץ מזה, תקשיב, לדעתי שאני בכושר, אני לדעתי יותר טוב מיאקוטי.
מה הוא אמר?
לדעתי שאני בכושר, אני יותר טוב מיאקוטי.
מה הוא אומר?
אתה לא שומע?
אני שומע שאני בכושר, אני חושב שאני יותר טוב
דקה. אתה מקשיב עכשיו?
אפשר להגיד.
יופי. לדעתי שאני בכושר, אני יותר טוב מיאקוטי.
יאקוטי לא טוב.
בגלל זה אמרתי שאני יותר טוב ממנו, ושאני בכושר. בגלל זה כנראה אני אפתח, כי יאקוטי פותח בינתיים. בגלל זה כנראה שאני כן אפתח. פשוט אני עוד לא בכושר, אני יכול אולי לשחק 25 דקות וזהו, ואני מתעייף.
יעצלן.
לא יצלן, פשוט לא הייתי 3 שנים בכושר.
אני שונא את כל הערבים ואת נוראי.
תודה אחי.
נוראי גם ערבים מעכו.
טוב.
כן. נוראי, סמן בסקר של אדזנה.
אבל סימנתי כבר.
גם חבי האיש כזה שחקן.
כן, אני יודע. אבל זה עוד לא מראה כאילו, נכנסתי להתאחדות, זה מראה שאני שם, אבל זה לא מראה שאני עדיין בקבוצה.
בסדר, שוק.
כאילו זה מראה איך קוראים לזה, שאני שחקן חדש בהפועל מטה אשר.
סלח, אנחנו שעה ו5 דקות בשיחה.
זה סלח משנתון למעלה?
מה?
זה סלח מהנערים ב'?
איזה סלח יש בנערים ב'?
מה? יש להם סלח אחד טוב. ערבי מקרמיאל.
זה מנה.
לא, יש להם גם סלח, אני אומר לך.
סלח היה אחד מעכו, שנה קודמת, שהיה איתי.
לא יודע, אני חושב שיש גם משנתון מעלינו, סלח.
לא, אני גם לא ערבי בו. אני שונא.
זיו, אתה לא משלם, נכון?
לא משלם?
כן, אתה תבריז לנו מהתשלום. כן. נכון? לא, אתה לא, שקרן אתה. אני אומר להם שאתה לא רוצה לשלם. מה?
זה מה שאתה אומר, אני לא שומע.
כי יש לך אינטרנט של ערבים.
מה אני אתה? מה אני גר בעכו אחי?
אחי, מה אני גר בזה? בראש הנקרה?
אני לא גר בראש הנקרה.
טוב.
אני גר ביערה.
מה? לא, אתה גר בראש הנקרה, חפרן.
אוקיי.
מה, אתה אמרת לי שאתה גר בראש הנקרה.
למה אתה מאמין למה שאני אומר?
אתה גר בראש הנקרה, אחי.
לאן נגרש לך?
יואו, מה אתם לא רוצים? אתה באמת גר תשלח לי מיקום עכשיו, אני רוצה לראות מיקום עכשיו.
אתה רוצה לעקוב אחריי? לא.
לא, מיקום רגיל, לא של מיקום בזמן אמת.
לא, אני עכשיו בראש הנקרא.
בטח. אני יודע שאתה גר בראש הנקרא כי גם אמרת לי את זה, וגם שהגעתי שעה לפני, פשוט אמרת לי איך ללכת, וגם אמרת שבאת ברגל. שקרן. זיו, אתה רואה את ה-FNCS? זיו, יש לך את ה-FNCS.
אני לא עושה.
מה אתה עושה? אתה גם אם תרצה אתה לא תעשה.
אתה FNCS של פוקוס.
כן, הנה, תראה.
של פוקוס.
תראה את המחשב היפה הזה.
יש כזה מחשב יש.
יש לך אקסבוקס במחשב. מה, אורל קנה מחשב חדש? אורל אמר לי שהוא קנה מחשב חדש, כאילו הוא הראה לי. יש לו RTX 5070, i7 סופר. אולטרה, לא יודע.
אני לא ראיתי ילדים כאלה אוטיסטים בחיים שלי.
יואו, איזה חופרים הם בקבוצה. אז תענה לי עובד, מה יש לך? תענה בי החמור, שלח את המספר של הקטעים. יואו, איזה חפנים. איך קוראים לו לצלם? זהו, יאללה שקט. צלם טוב, מה זה משנה? אני רוצה לראות, יאלי דיין. או יאלי דיין עם התמונה של המכנס פרחים. אמיר כהן, בוא נראה אמיר כהן.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fortnite Global Championship. This is day number 2, game 7, the first of the day. Malibuka Ping Walks get a victory royale.
יואו, זיו, איזה חפרן אתה.
We've only seen
תגיד,
some
אם הם יעשו 19 כפול 30?
so many times, but in game number 1 of the day, to start things off,
כן, כן, כאילו הם גם סתומים ברמתה.
I can't believe it is even possible, right? We talked about
איפה אמיר כהן הזה צלם?
זה הרי
as soon as he was able to get up on
550.
the high ground. I can't lie.
כמה הוא לוקח? 600?
Like it was the team ever,
Yeah.
multiple teams kind of going for it. At the end of the day, though, Malibuka walks Ping.
נו, הוא לוקח 600. אז...
כמה זה חלקי 19,
Oh my
אחי?
gosh, man.
מי אמר, אבל אנחנו, יש לנו גם את הילדים מנערים, עם ילדים א'.
In the mix. I know I need these eliminations to soar up.
אני חושב שכן.
About this high take, of course, we saw Queasy on right at the beginning of that.
I mean, that
endgame.
was
Then
just
we saw
like-
Acorn's team going up to try and take it. They actually were
לאף אחד לא
successful in
אכפת
that
מה
high
אתה חושב.
take. The crucial thing that actually ended up allowing them to top lane was that zone pulled back. That 10 zone pulled back over all of the old builds that Queasy's team ended up making.
אוי, איזה אוטיסטים. נגיד ואנחנו 19. נגיד. כמה יוצא 19? אין לי מחשבון בטלפון, נייס.
בשביל שנהיה 600 בדיוק,
דקה, אין לי מחשבון באייפון.
so insane, man.
אוקיי, זה יוצא 32 שקל כל אחד.
We know high ground wins games,
אם אנחנו 19.
wins tournaments, and now as you turn attention to those
כי תעשה 600 שקל חלקי 19, זה יוצא 32 שקל.
right? Now we're starting to close up. We're trying to say, Queasy, hold on a minute. Let's not get
19 כפול
crazy here.
32.
506.
תעשה 600 לחלק ב-19.
I mean, look, we still got a lot to do if we're hoping to catch Queasy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're talking about it.
Okay, guys, like a fool.
Like barely moved. I'm pretty sure. But
So he was trying to do a test
still very, very
one.
comfortable for them. And it's just kind of what Mini was talking about as we were watching the game, because he was like, yeah, I mean, you know, they're down. Still,
בוא נשלח להם את זה בקבוצה.
just have to go ahead and solo clutch, but this is kind of the exact game they need. They don't
דקה, דקה, אני מתק.
They just kind of need to pick up enough points to kind of fend off the competition.
Yeah, this is technically their worst game of the weekend, right? I think they got a 7th in this game, but still, I know. Oh no, we're wrapping it up. But still, it's still a good game. They made it to end game. They took height. They did what they know how to do. Again, unfortunate, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, day 2, people are going to go for height. So
איזה מעתיק.
maybe that's now an adjustment to their play style. They might need to think, oh, maybe we need to go down, play mid-ground a little bit more, but
יקבל טיק.
they're still getting points, they're still clutching when it matters.
The result won't show it, but I just cannot believe how quick and decisive this team can like switch strategy on the dime. We saw them on the higher ground, right? Acorn's trio, they crash padded up. They were instantly fighting for it.
תשגעו לא כזה טוב טוב.
It was within literally like 4 or 5 seconds. The entire trio of Queasies was shooting.
רגע, כמה תמונות הוא... אתה מכיר אותו, זיו?
to prevent them from actually screwing that out. It was literally instant.
So good. And
מה זה? אני חיפשתי אמיר כהן בגוגל וזה לא מצא לי. באינסטגרם. חיפשתי, זה לא מצא לי.
teams that are trying to split, one's going up, two going down, it doesn't work. Queasy's got that team really,
בוא תסתכל שיתוף, אחי, אל תחפור.
where do we go up? Whether we go down?
אם אתה עושה לי שיתוף אחרי
Talked about it, right? They defended.
למה?
They defended against the take from Acorn.
מה זה מדבר? זה לא יפה.
Lucas trio just way too aware of what was going up on the high ground. They kind of joined in on the.
יופי, עכשיו אתה רואה את השיתוף. לא, אתה לא רואה את הקהל. הנה, עכשיו אתה רואה את השיתוף.
It was crazy. We have a listen from that last game. Let's see how things were going for Queasy.
Watch our height. Wait, take it, maybe take it. I want to. I have it, 100. I have it coming. I'm connected. Yeah, okay. I went down.
איפה יש קוצרה? מסתכל. אמיר כהן, כך מה שקוראים לו, בוא נראה. אמיר כהן. נו, כתבתי טוב, זה לא מוצא לי, אחי. איך לקאוט?
אני מצאתי.
שלח לי רגע.
נראה לי לפחות.
תבדוק אם הוא צלם. תבדוק אם יש לו כמו... איך קוראים לו באינסטגרם?
זיו, הלכתי. לא, צלח יום. שכמם לי, אני עייס. יאללה, ביי.
ביי.
לא. אמיר באנגלית, ואז זה יראה לך.
At home could hear it because I sure couldn't. This crowd
Yeah,
is going
Amir.
crazy. They stand behind Queasy. Okay, they know who they want to champion. They know who they want to win. Man, oh man, but for the trio, right, to be in this kind of situation.
כן, הנה שושני, זיבה שוקר אחריו.
Now that they had someone contest them, now I almost wonder, what are they thinking going to this next?
וואו, מה זה התספורת הזאת? מה עשו לו בשיער?
That doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
Say
in
it.
this scenario, I would not want to be Queasy. Right? He's kind of got to be the guy
Yalla,
that
boy.
does that for his trio. Hey, listen, do we kind of give up on the whole high ground thing? Obviously, that is our best strategy, but, you know, we're kind of have this comfortable lead to where if we kind of just play mid-ground or low-ground and make sure that we pick up, you know, a decent placement every single game, we'll still hold on to the lead, or do they just play what they know?
It's these moments where champions are made, right? When things aren't quite going your way, when something happens that you didn't expect, how do you adapt to that? How do you adjust what's been working so well for you to have the courage to say, right, you know what, let's change up what we're doing. Let's maybe loot in a different area. Let's try and look at other teams who Storm Surge early on because it looked like they were a little bit lower down than we've seen them in previous games.
Yeah, true.
Maybe we change the way that we play our end games. That courage is what makes champions champions.
That is crazy, you know. Yeah, you have that comfortability. How you say, look, we have to break what we know.
Yeah.
If we want to be champions, maybe that's the answer. Let's go back to these standings, though, and start taking a look at the second page and see kind of where things are going. Wanted to highlight here Mr. Savage showing up here in this final end game, having a good game. We still need work, right? There's still work to be done, but having, you know, started to kind of pick up steam.
Focus.
With 5 games more to go, I'm excited to see what else they bring.
I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't move at all from 11th, right? They were in the mix. Game right there. I think it was Mr.
Hello.
trio.
ביקשתי ממך שתוריד את הגליסה, בוא תיתן רגע פוש, כי אני רוצה ללכת לעשות הליכה.
יאללה.
ומחר באים לראות את הבית,
יאללה,
נוראי,
אני בא, אני
והבית
בא.
לא נקי, ואני צריכה אותך איתי.
יאללה, אני בא.
קדימה, בוא, ביי.
ביי.